Welcome to Guest the Year. I'm Mike. I'm the host. Today we've got 5 Deadheads from around the country competing for a $50 gift card to REI and a spot in next week's show. Here's how the game works. We'll play the first part of a Grateful Dead live track, and each contestant will use the messaging system to silently guess which year their performance is from. Contestants who are all in video chat to prevent any possibility of cheating can submit their guesses at any time during the clip or in the 10 seconds following its conclusion. Whoever is furthest from the correct year is eliminated. The last 2 Deadheads standing will have the best of 3 series to determine a winner. We'll get a chance to meet each contestant shortly, but right now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Grateful Dead.
Got my chips cashed in and keep trucking like the dude I made together. More or less in line, just keep trucking. Here's a neon and flashing my keys out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's on the same street. Your typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings. Dallas got a soft machine. Houston too close to New Orleans. New York got the ways and means, but just won't let you be. Oh no.
All right. We got 3 people who got it exactly. It was 1972. To be exact, it was July 9th, 1972 in London. Caleb, congratulations. What did you hear that gave it away that it was 72?
The harmonies being really on. I know they did a lot of overdubbing on the vocals for the Europe 72 tour. And just from listening to it, so often, this is the one where Bobby, tells everybody, this one shot straight to the top of the charts in Turtle Rock, California, at the beginning. So those harmonies being so on, which they were early, but I know they did a lot of overdubbing on those Europe tracks.
Great. Let me ask you real quick. How did you get into the Dead?
I had some friends that I worked with that were talking about going to see this guy named Bob Weir play with an acoustic trio called the Wolf Brothers at the pageant in St. Louis. And I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of the Grateful Dead. And so I went with them, and that's where I got on the bus, and I haven't looked back since.
Amazing. Okay, we had another contestant guest 1972, Kyle. Great work. What did you hear there that was, tipped you off?
But that one, it was Pigpen and Keith simultaneously. That limits your scope. And just the higher energy differentiates it from later years, say. Like 73 is a little mellower, and 74, I think, is a little mellower, but that a little more of the energy.
Got it. And when you say Pigpen and Keith simultaneously, so
they were
2
both
pianos?
playing. Keith's playing an organ, and
Got it.
Keith's playing the piano. And there was a limited span where that was going on because Keith died in 73. So there was a short window where they overlapped.
Nice pull. And so it seems like you've been a Deadhead for a while. How do you most listen to the Dead? Is it like Sirius XM, YouTube? How do you listen to it?
Now, yeah, Sirius for sure. Spotify's got a lot of live shows. It's always bootlegs. I had these like cooler, older stoner cousins that were going to shows in the 70s and turning me onto them in the early 80s with bootlegs. They had those like cassette briefcases. They'd be like, Kai, take these home with you. And they'd give me like Poplar Creek 83 and shit when I was a little kid. And Zappa and Bob Marley and, all the good stuff that 9-year-olds should be listening to.
Amazing. Lucas, you also guessed 1972 correctly. What tipped you off?
Yeah, like the other 2 guys said, Keith, immediately, it's, post late 1971. And then I've also been listening to a lot of 1972 this year for the 50th anniversary. And yeah, just sounds like classic Europe 72 to me.
Europe 72, you've listening a lot. Is it one of your favorite years?
Yeah, definitely. Single drummer Dead, 71 through 74, favorite era for sure.
Awesome. That leaves two contestants, Jack and Justin. Justin guessed 1971, so he got fourth place. And we'll meet you in a moment, Justin. But we're going to go to Jack now, who guessed 76. And so that eliminates you. But Jack, walk us through what you heard.
Sure. Unfortunately, I heard very little. My son grabbed the Bluetooth speaker that was in my backpack and pressed the button right as I heard the first two notes, and I was like, "It's trucking." And then I heard the last two notes and nothing in there. And so I just shot from the hip somewhere in the middle of the 70s. It sounded like 70s to me. I didn't hear any organ or keyboard. I didn't even get to that point, really. And so, hey, life happens, and I got a few things going on. So I just took kind of a stab in the middle, thinking it didn't sound like the bigger sound of the 80s or the late 70s even. And so maybe I could get close and somebody would have thrown one out high or low and I could have slid in there. So totally just took a shot in the dark for fun.
Yeah, I got to say, for your only hearing two notes in the beginning and the end, that was a great guess. And I like the strategy behind it too.
If you make it to number 2, number 3, number 4, maybe I could come back on sometime and get a crack at it. I'd love to. And I want to give a nod to my uncles. I have 4 that are Deadheads, and they brought me in and brought me to a show in 91 at 11 years old because they said it was something I was going to need to see. So those are my godfathers, and they introduced me to something that's really valuable and important in my life. And so I'm super blessed, and I just want to tell that story as much as I can.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jack. Justin, back to you real quick. You guessed 71. Why? Just give us a quick rundown of why you guessed 71, and also how you got into the Dead.
I pretty much thought it was Europe 72, but I thought that would be too obvious for the first one. So I hedged a little bit and went 1971. My first Dead show was October 18th, 1984, Brendan Byrne at East Rutherford. I'm 52 years old now. How did I get in? You know, one of my boys, older brothers, was like, "Come on, you guys are going to a Dead show." And that's when it all started. 85 shows later, Jerry died in 95. That was it for me. I went to one Dead and Company show and one further, but I kind of live on re-listen and spent a lot of time in 76 and 77 and 73. And, it's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing, outside of my children and my wife.
Nice caveat. Nice save. Yes. I love you playing the host too. That is an element of this because I'm going to try to trip you guys up, make patterns, break them, what have you. So let's plow ahead here with our 4 contestants still remaining. Caleb, Lucas, Justin, and Kyle. And let's start with song number 2.
There's mosquitoes on the river, the fish is rising up like birds, and it's been hot for 7 weeks now, too hot to even speak now. Did you hear what I just heard? It might have been a fiddle, or it could have been the wind. Well, there seems to be a beat now, I can feel it in my feet. Here it comes again.
There's a band on my highway. Heart stepping in
Oh,
the
they're
time.
dancing in the time.
It's a rainbow full of sun. It's fireworks galore. It's round. And everybody's dancing.
Come on, children, come on and clap your hands.
Okay, everyone got their guesses in. Nice work. Thank you, everyone. The song was The Music Never Stops. The year, 78, February 3rd, 1978. And it was at the Dane County Coliseum in Madison, Wisconsin. Yep, Justin was the one who nailed it. Justin, how'd you figure that one out?
I actually thought it was February 3rd, 1978. I love that Dane County show. The audio sounded a little different, but I 1977, 78 were the years for TMNS. And it just sounded like 78 to me.
Great. Caleb and Lucas both guessed 77. Kyle guessed 76. So you are eliminated, Kyle. I mean, you were obviously 2 years off, so you got the right idea. Why 76 in particular?
Honestly, it was the speed. 78 was a little more heroined out and slower in general in my sort of, take. So it just seemed a little more upbeat. So I thought 76, fresh back from the break.
I like the guess. I will say I don't often come across, and I'm quickly revealing myself possibly as I guess I don't listen to 76 very often. Do you?
There were there's a Chicago radio broadcast from June of 76 from the Auditorium Theater. And that was one of those early bootlegs I had. It was broadcast on WXRT, which is like the cool Chicago radio station. And it's really good. They were refreshed. It definitely helped.
Well, it was a great guess. Kyle, thank you so much for playing.
But thanks for having me, guys.
All right. And then there were three, Caleb, Justin, and Lucas. Let's go to the next song.
Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. The evening sun is sinking low. Clock on the wall says it's time. I got plans, and I got plans for you. I'll tell you exactly what we're all gonna do. Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.
The show, it was Alpine Valley. It's July 17th, 1989. And the song, of course, Let the Good Times Roll. Lucas, you nailed it. Walk us through what you heard.
So, Let the Good Times Roll, I think, was only played 87 on, I might be wrong about that. So I'm thinking late 80s already. Sounds really joyous, happy. Sounds like 89, Let the Good Times Roll. And I think I have Downhill from Here, this DVD, on my bookcase over there. So I believe I've heard this before.
You nailed it. Yes, that's where it's from. And I understand what you mean about joyous. That's why I always watch that video, especially. Okay, well, Caleb guessed 1988 and Justin guessed 1987. Justin, you were sadly eliminated. What made you think it was 87 as opposed to, I understand we're getting nitty gritty here, but why 87?
Man, I just thought it was late 80s, so I took a guess. I mean, that's the sound of the Dead that I grew up on. But as I told you in my email, I don't remember a lot of shows that well, for obvious reasons. Thankfully, I don't live like that anymore. So I knew it was late 80s. I thought maybe a little earlier, right? Because Jerry sounded pretty healthy there for a second. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
so you went to a lot of shows
right
back then. So is Brent your favorite piano player from the Dead?
Oh no, absolutely not. Keith for sure. Yeah, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Brent hater. I'm not in that camp. I don't have any hot takes on Brent. I think that the band leaned heavily on Brett in the later years, and that was a necessity. But no, I'm a Keith guy for sure.
Leaned on his like charisma and like excitement and like just playing a lot of solos and stuff, or in what way do you think?
Well, I think obviously Jerry was having his moments right there in the early 90s. And, they needed a big voice, right? Jerry just didn't have stage presence. I think he was in and out. I think Brent really, he sang a lot more, right? He took a lot more solos. He had a lot more bigger catalog. It grew. The band changes over the course of 30 plus years. That's what happens, right? You take what you need, you leave the rest. I'm a big fan of Brent. Just not so much when he sings, and I know that's not a popular take, but
Wow.
that's my opinion. Right?
Also, and if I could say that the interplay between Jerry and Brent, I mean, is it hits those moments where, if you watch the Long Strange Trip documentary on Amazon, where Phil talks about, we could open the valve at certain points. We could open the valve and go to a different, universe. Those moments where Brent and Jerry are just looking at each other, locking eyes and going back and forth. I mean, I'm grateful I get to see John Mayer and Jeff Clementi do, something close to the same these days, but those moments are unlike any other.
Yeah, and those are great. And that's Jerry doing that, right? That's Jerry letting Brent take the lead and, you're giving the horse ahead, you know what I mean? When you're letting it run, Jerry was nodding on him, go for it.
Real quick, Justin, just because I'm curious, why Keith is your favorite piano player?
I love the grand piano, man. It just sounds so pure. I'm not really sure how I can explain it. His roles and his energy. I don't have like a favorite year for Keith. I think he was fantastic in 1978. I think he was fantastic in 1973. He brought like a big sound, right? When that big sound, like, my favorite show is 5/22/77, Plantation Pines, Florida. And man, like, he's just big on that. He's big. I know that's not really that good an explanation, but it's just what I feel, right?
All right, Justin, you're the man. It's been a pleasure having you on, getting your insight.
Hey, thank you very much for having me. Good luck, guys.
All right. And then there were two, Lucas and Caleb. Now we're entering a best of 3 series. Let's play.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl. Nighttime find me in Rose's Cantina, music would play and Felina would whirl. Blacker than night were the eyes of Felina, wicked and evil while casting a spell. My love was strong for this Mexican maiden, I was in love with in vain I could tell. One night a wild young cowboy came in, out of the West Texas freaky. Shaking, daring, and drinking, sharing, and feeling it, the girl that I love. So in anger, I challenged his right for the love of this maiden, with his hand for the gun that he wore. My challenge was answered in less than a heartbeat. The handsome young stranger lay dead on the floor. She spoke in wonder, stood there in silence, shocked by the foul evil deed I had done.
Okay. Caleb and Lucas, you guys have both submitted your guesses. The song, chorus, Bob Weir's El Paso. Location was College of William and Mary, and it was April 15th, 1978. Caleb, you guessed 1974, and you were closer. What did you hear there?
Yeah, man, that was kind of a stumper. I don't know if I've heard that one before, but obviously the piano, harmonies, you got Jerry singing that harmony, keeping up with Bob, and they just didn't do El Paso a whole lot beyond the 70s and early 80s. I mean, of course, they hit it a good handful of times, but I really went back and forth between, is this 77? Would he do another 77, kind of playing the host like Jack was earlier? And so, yeah.
Well, nice work. Lucas, what kind of tripped you up there?
Yeah, that one threw me off. I hear a lot of El Pasos, like every show. It feels like in the 70s. But I don't know. I was trying to listen in. I didn't hear a keyboard. Might have just been me. I didn't pick up one very well, and I couldn't really tell one or two drummers at the time. So it just sounded like with no Keith, or I didn't pick up any in my ears. I was thinking it was like 71 right before Keith joined, but obviously not.
That got me
Awesome.
too, man. I couldn't decide if I was hearing one or two drummers, and I settled on one. But
Yeah, well, these questions are getting harder too. You guys aren't
That's a
like
tough one.
crazy here. Yeah. I there's no
Yeah.
like Donna Jean coming in and singing to like kind of give you a range. Caleb, you're up 1-0 in the series. Lucas will look to even it up on this one, and if Caleb wins, he wins the $50 REI gift card. All right, let's go to the next song.
Gone are the days when the odds fall down. Take up the oak and plow the fields round. Gone are the days when the ladies said, please, Jack Jones, won't you come to me? Brown-eyed women in red grenadine. The bottle was dusty, but the liquor was clean. Sound of the thunder with the rain pouring down. Looks like the old man getting old. 1920 when he stepped to the bar, drank to the dregs of the whiskey jar. 1930 when the wall caved in, paid his way selling red-eyed gin. Brown-eyed woman in red grenadine. The bottle was dusty, but the liquor was clean. Sound of thunder with the rain pouring down, and it looks like the old man getting old.
Caleb and Lucas both submitted theirs. Thank you. And so is obviously Brown Eyed Woman, Shoreline Amphitheater, August 17th, 1991. Lucas, that was a pressure spot. You nailed it. Walk us through it.
So first, I'm hearing Jerry's voice sounds tired. So I was thinking mid 80s originally, and then Bruce just takes over on piano and just like controls the melody. So I mean, 1991. If you hear like heavy, strong piano like Bruce plays, you know it's 1991.
Nice work. Caleb, you guessed 1990. Again, now we're getting we're totally
I
splitting
just
hairs, but
always-
yeah.
I always forget if Bruce played in 90 or 91, and I went back and forth for a good 20 seconds there where I was like, which one was it? But yeah, I mean, good call, Lucas. Bruce, and then you got that Vince Welnick kind of cloud of synth in the background backing him up on that.
Good job, guys. It is 1-1. We're going to a decisive game 3. This is as exciting as it gets for guest of the year, everyone. This is big time. All right, let's get it going.
I set out from Reno, I was trailed by 20 hounds. Didn't get to sleep that night till the morning came around. I set out running, but it take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just might get some sleep tonight.
I ran into the devil, baby, loaned me 20 bills. Spent the night in Utah in the cave up in the hills. I set out running, but I take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, just to get some sleep tonight.
All right, the guesses are in. The song was Friend of the Devil. It was the Fillmore East in New York on May 15th, 1970. Caleb and Lucas, you guys both got it. We'll start with Caleb. What'd you hear?
I thought that was the Binghamton, that classic Dick's Picks 8, where the new Riders of the Purple Sage joined them for some acoustic jams. But yeah, I mean, 70, I think, was one of the few times that they did that. And then, of course, the 1980 run at the Warfield, where they did a bunch of acoustic stuff and then an electric set. But yeah, I mean, you can tell that's early. That's vintage Jerry, baby. That sultry voice. But yeah, I thought it was Harper College in Binghamton. So
Nice work, Lucas. Do you hear anything else in particular?
No, pretty much the same thing. You know, they only played acoustic sets, 1970, 1980, and then scattered maybe a few more other than that. So it didn't sound like 1980 Jerry. So 1970 it is.
All right, amazing. So we'll go until there's a winner. So that's another time. So we got a tiebreaker coming up. Let's play it. So the song, of course, was Peggy O at Virginia Tech University. It was April 14th, 1978. Caleb, you guessed 1977. You were closer. You are the champion. Here's your victory lap. What'd you hear?
I mean, Peggy O is one of those songs that is always good, always. But specifically in the late 1970s, it was just beautiful. Nothing really particular. I think I guessed 77, right?
Yeah, 77.
Nothing in particular called out to me other than Jerry's voice and kind of the pacing of it. But if I could say one thing to the listeners is the English Town, September 3rd, 1977, Peggy O. Go give that a listen. If you're in North America, it's probably the fall and things are getting a little cooler. Roll down your windows and put on that English Town Peggy O and just ascend to the heavens, baby.
Amazing. Caleb, congratulations. You won a $50 gift card. Lucas, real quick. Your guess was 1974.
Yes.
Not very far off.
I knew it was somewhere in the 70s. Obviously, still couldn't pick up multiple drummers or not. It was real tough for me. But I was thinking you wouldn't go late 70s again, so I went with 74. I was thinking it might have been the May 19th Pacific Northwest show because I have that one on vinyl and I love it. My favorite Peggy O.
Amazing. Caleb, you win. Congratulations. Everyone, thank you so much for being on. I will say real quick, Everyone can subscribe to the podcast. We're going at Guest the Year on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're also on at Guest the Year on Instagram for like show news. If you want to be a guest, this is key. We always need contestants, or even comments or questions, or even better, if you want to sponsor the show, put up the $50 gift card. It's for your company or whatever. It is our email is guesttheyearshow@gmail.com. It's Guest the Year Show. Same with Instagram, Guest the Year Show. Thank you so much for listening at home. Congratulations to our winner again, Caleb, and to our other contestants. Thank you for playing. And remember, it's all one song anyways.
Good night. Good night. And I bid you good night. Good night.